ॐ स्थापकाय च धर्मस्य सर्वधर्मस्वरूपिणे अवतारवरिष्ठाय रामकृष्णाय ते नमः। वसुदेवसुतं देवं कंसचाणूरमर्दनं देवकी परमानन्दं कृष्णं वन्दे जगद्गुरुम्। So in the last class, we were studying up to the 19th verse of the 8th chapter of Shrimad Bhagavad Gita. So after speaking of the impermanence of the different worlds, now Sri Krishna speaks of the eternal nature of the Supreme Lord in the next 3 verses. So from the 20, 21 and 22. So this will be speaking of the eternal nature of the Supreme Lord. So we found that even the idea of the Brahma Loka, the time is something exponential, but still it's relative. The question is there any concept in this world we see that everything goes through the process of birth, sustenance, annihilation. The duration may vary. For a small microbe, it may be just a few days or a few moments. For a human being, it's 100 years. And just as we saw, that in the celestial lokas, it may be something exponentially large. It's billions of years from the human standpoint. But still, it's limited. We don't see anything in this world which doesn't meet this, this annihilation at one point of time or the other. So is there anything which is beyond this concept of annihilation? So that's what Bhagavan is asserting in the 3 verses. This idea which we find in all the religions. The God is the one who is eternal. Something behind this creation. There is a spiritual dimension which has no annihilation. And that's been spoken of in the 20, 21st and the 22nd verse of the 8th chapter. So let's proceed with the verses. The 20th verse of the 8th chapter. Parah tasmat tu bhavonya avyaktat sanatanaha yah sarveshu bhuteshu nashyatsu na vinashyati. Para means that which transcends. Tasmat tu bhavonya, bhava anya. So when we were studying the lifespan of Brahma, that we saw that this Yuga, Kali Yuga, is 432,000 years. Dwapar, Treta, Satya. If you go this Kali, this Dwapara Yuga was just the double of it. 864,000 years. And then Treta is the 3 times of that. And Satya Yuga is the 4 times of that. And it comes to 4 billion. If I just add up these 4 yugas, it comes to 4,320,000 years. That's just the daytime of Brahma. Where just we compare it with the microcosm in our individual life. When I wake up in the morning, for me the world manifests. Was the world not there? It was there. It as if got hidden. It got hidden in my mind. All the concepts of this universe was hidden in my mind. I wake up, and the external world just acts like a suggestion with which my mind is interacting, and then the world is projected from the mind. I see the world. So that's what is happening in the microcosm, in each and every individual being. So now in Bhagavad Gita we find that's the idea which we find in the macrocosm. In the entire universe, the same thing is happening, but in a much larger scale. That for Brahma, the cosmic mind, from whose mind the entire universe has been projected, that cosmic mind is also going through a state of deep sleep and wakeful state. So when it is awake, then these 4 yugas, Satya, Kali, Dwapara, Treta and Satya, these 4 yugas together, it makes one kalpa. One kalpa is 4,320,000 years, human years, these earth years. So it's a huge. So that's the daytime of Brahma. Now Brahma also goes to sleep. The next kalpa is his sleep. So then what happens? Just as when we go to sleep, do we have any awareness of the world? No. Where has the world gone? Is it not there? It is there. Where it is? Is it there out? Well, I don't know what is there out. What I know is that everything is a projection of the mind. Let me give a common example. A red flower. Is it a red flower? We don't know. Because the mind, which we say the brain, which is the organ of the mind, if we see its functioning, even from the modern science, what it's doing, no light enters there. I say that the light has entered my eyes and I see that the flower is red. But even common science will say even you can understand, everyone can understand, even a lay person can understand, the light doesn't enter the brain, it is dark. The light touches the retina of the eye, its function is over. That light which touches the retina, it stimulates the optic nerve, which from my eyes is connected to the brain. That optic nerve is carrying something like a current, like an electric current, something is being carried of a particular pulsation. That pulsation, when it reaches the brain, all the ideas of color, whatever we see, whatever we hear, is there lying dormant in the mind. They're sleeping. The moment that particular pulsation reach, of all those dormant ideas, the red color, which is already in the mind, that gets stimulated. And that is projected. That projects. And what's there outside, I never know. I can never know. There is something. Vedanta says asti. There is existence. It's not that I'm imagining. There is something which I can never know what its real nature is. That redness is now projected on it. And I see the flower as red. I think the flower is red. But actually what has happened? That redness has been projected by the mind. With this one example, you can understand whatever we are seeing, whatever I am hearing, whatever I am touching, with the various sensations, whatever I am smelling, whatever I am tasting, is nothing. The ideas of all the taste, of all touches, all the touch, of all the smell, of all the things I see, of all the things I hear, they're all hidden in the mind. The external world acts just like a suggestion, which helps the mind, which stimulates the mind to project out this world of name and form. So in deep sleep what happens? Even for Brahma, the same thing I understand it happens with me. For Brahma also what happens? When he goes to sleep, the entire world which I am seeing as a visible world at present, it merges in the mind of Brahma. It's no more there. So that's the state called avyakta. Nothing is manifested. Everything has gone to the state of unmanifested. Everything has gone to that unmanifested state. So even in modern science, you will find that yes, that what we see outside is not going to be there for infinite amount of time. They say of Big Bang. Before Big Bang, what was there, we don't know. From this universe came, and it is not going to be there for eternal time. Everything again has to go to that singular state. So even in modern science we say that. That singular state is again avyakta. It's not nothing. It is something which is not manifested. So this cycle is going on. Brahma wakes up, the entire universe comes into existence. He goes to sleep, everything is merging in that absolute. So, is there something beyond this, that when everything is going to that unmanifested state, the same unmanifested state is manifesting? Is there something beyond this unmanifested state? So that's the thing which is being spoken of here. Now, even in our, that, as we say that microcosm and the macrocosm are built in the same plan. In our life, what happens? That when I am going to the deep sleep, the entire world has merged into my mind. When I wake up, again that mind is interacting with the world, and whatever is, what you say, is lying dormant in the mind, that manifests as this universe. How it's happening? Because there is a conscious principle behind the mind, always associated with the mind. Unless that is there is no perception. That consciousness has to be there behind. That why we can say that there is a consciousness behind that avyakta? Because when I wake up, I know I was sleeping. If there was no consciousness behind that mind, how would I have known that I was sleeping? That there must have been someone been as a witness. There was a witness who knew that I am perceiving nothing. As in the Yoga Sutra very nicely, as I mentioned, what is deep sleep? The deep sleep has been this abhava pratyaya alambana vritti nidra. Abhava pratyaya. That when I am awake, each and every thought pulsation of my mind, there is a content in it. There is a wave, like when sun is up in the sky, there are millions of waves on the ocean. Each wave, what's the content? The reflection of the sun. You can see the sun there. Similarly, when I'm interacting with the world, what is happening? The mind is constantly creating pulsations. And this world is being reflected there. Means we are saying reflected, actually what we are saying, the projection. Just for our sake of our comprehension, that something is interacting with the mind. And there is a content of each and every wave. In deep sleep, what happens? Does the mind stops? Is the mind just flat? No. Because nowadays with the modern, you're all instruments with EEG. If you just try to scan the mind, your brain, you will find even in deep sleep there are waves. They term it as alpha, beta, gamma, there's different waves they name. Even in deep sleep the waves are there. And just see how nice, the thousands of airbags in the Yoga Sutra, how nicely they are singing. That the mind is not without waves. Vritti is there. But there is no content. Abhava pratyaya. Pratyaya is the content of the wave. That has no knowledge. There is no, there's what you say, is content in that wave from which I can get that knowledge. But the vritti is there. The mind is still working. To understand this state, let us try to understand that avyakta, behind the avyakta there is another avyakta whom I can never know. He is the eternal witness. Cannot never know? Because you can never know the subject. It's very interesting. These concepts in Vedanta are wonderful. That I can never know the subject. With the subject, every object I can know. That when with my eyes I am seeing the world, I see everything. But with my eyes, can I see my own eyes? No. I cannot see my own eyes with the eyes. But how I know that with my eyes I am seeing the external world? Because the mind is there, which with the mind, whatever is perceived by the eyes is again processed by the mind. So the mind is as if the witness of the eyes. So I am aware of my eyes because of the mind behind the eyes. Now mind becomes subject. Now in Vedanta, this analysis is wonderful. Am I aware of my own mind? Yes. I know whatever I am thinking, I know what I am thinking. Whatever I am seeing, I know what I am seeing. So there is a witness of my mind too. Whatever the mind is processing, someone is seeing. That's why I am aware of my mind. So the mind also is not the ultimate subject, because whatever is going in my mind, someone is witnessing it. Now the question is, who is witnessing it? Vedanta says, ultimate subject can never be known. So the moment if you know that, then that becomes an object. Someone else must be, again, the one who is witnessing the mind. If I know it, then someone else must be there to witness that. And it will lead to infinite regression. So that's why in Vedanta they say that the ultimate witness can never be known. But how can I know its existence? Because it is lighting up everything. It is known as Tatastha Lakshana. That sometimes the river cannot be seen. You cannot see the river. Most probably you stay very near the river, but because of lot of other buildings, landscapes, it is not visible, but it is very near. Some guest came to your house and you say, the river is very near to my house. No, but I don't see it. And then you say, you give a referral point. You see that tall tree? Yeah. The river is flowing just by the side of that. Tatastha, it's on the bank. Similarly, the ultimate consciousness can be known only with what it is lighting up, what is in its bank which has been lighted up. These ideas are wonderful. Even now we will find, can we ever see light? We can never see light. It's very interesting. When light lights up something, from that I can know about the existence of light. Light itself cannot be seen. When you see this table lighted up, I know there is light. You will say, but I see the light. Here it's the light. No. The light is falling on the atmosphere. That atmosphere is dispersing the light. That's what I'm saying. Light itself is not visible. Staying in earth, as we are all confined to this earth, sometimes it becomes very difficult to understand. We just have to go to the space. See, now in the earth, the moment in the morning the sun comes up, I see everything lighted. It is only because of the atmosphere. The atmosphere is dispersing the light. Light itself is not visible. If you go to the moon surface, even in the daytime, you can see the sun in the sky. The sky is totally dark. And you look at the moon's surface, that again is lighted. It's not this bright sky which we see here, you can see in the moon, because there is no atmosphere. So the light itself is not visible. How I know the existence of light? When it falls on something and lights it up, I know there is light. Similarly, I can never know what is gravitation unless I see a falling object. Have anyone seen gravitation? No. By seeing a falling object, I know that there is something called gravitation. So these are called tatastha. By seeing the effect on something, I know its existence. Anything fundamental as such can never be known. I can know it only by its effect on which it is acting. So similarly, this mind which is avyakta, in deep sleep, all the ideas are there. But unless the consciousness is behind there, it never gets activated. So that ultimate consciousness which is behind the mind, that is eternal. Give another example. This computer. So many files I have in my computer. I have so many files. When I off it, are they lost? They're all stored there. But is it visible? No, not visible. What I have to do, I again have to on it. Onning is what? I have to connect it with a bias voltage. It is plugged. The battery is being charged. And that constantly, that without that battery, without that electric power, that all the files that are stored there, will it ever manifest? No. I may have my computer that here, I still remember that a few years back it happened that there was, because of bad weather, because of storm, there was a power outage for 14 days. I cannot use my computer. Everything is there, nothing is lost. I have to get it charged by this, and then only I can use. So even in the computer, with all your files, it is all hidden. It has to get associated with that bias voltage, and then it manifests. And I can off it. I can just switch it off. But when what happens? Then the consciousness is as such, because now even if when I'm not opening a file, then what can happen? The computer may be on, but you're not seeing anything. So that is like that. We can say in a deep sleep state. We can explain the deep sleep state with an example, nice example. Suppose nowadays in the school that everything is connected with a surveillance camera. That the administrative head, the principal of the school, just sitting in his office can watch what's going on in each of the classrooms. So there is a monitor in his office, and the surveillance camera is there in each and every classroom. It is all connected with his computer, and he can just open the monitor and see what's going on. Now, what is these three states we are going through? The consciousness is behind the turiya. The fourth state is behind. What are the three states we experience? Waking state, dream state, and the deep sleep state we are experiencing. You'll find the experiences are different. What I see in the dream, that's contradicted by my dream state. I know that it's a dream, cannot be real. When I wake up, all those experiences are contradicted. But simply can I say the dream state to be unreal and the waking state to be real? I cannot. Very interesting. In Vedanta, these analyses were done in a wonderful way. That when I am dreaming, at that time, do you think the dream is something false? At that time, the dream is real to you. Isn't it? At that time, the dream is real. You never think that I am dreaming. In the dream is real. In the dream, you have a dream body. You see others, even you see yourself. There is a dream body. You are witnessing that. That is again interacting with the entire world. You wake up, that's gone. So what is contradicted? Our experiences are contradicted. When I wake up, my dream experiences are contradicted by my waking experiences. So my dream cannot be real. My waking state also cannot be real, because it also ends when I go to that state in sleep. When I'm going to the deep sleep state or in the dream state, whatever the experiences of the waking state is no more there. That I may be very rich, very powerful. Sri Ramakrishna says that in deep sleep he is a powerless person. That when I am awake, I think I am powerful, I am rich, I am wealthy, I am influential. When I am in deep sleep, a person comes and spits on me, I am helpless, I can do nothing. What it says, that yes, that your experience, that you are rich, wealthy, everything is pertaining to this waking state. In deep sleep, you are just in a deep sleep state, or even in a dream state, you are powerless. Anyone comes, spits on you, you have nothing to do. You are just helpless. So all these experiences are contradicting, but what is not contradicting? Do you ever feel the one who was dreaming is not me? I know that what I was dreaming, it contradicts my waking state, all the experience of the waking state. But do you ever feel the one who was dreaming is not me? The one who was in deep sleep is not me. Do I feel? Never. I feel it is the same person who was dreaming. It is the same one who has woke up. It is the same who is in a deep sleep state. Now, to understand this witness, that example which we are giving in the classroom. In the classroom, what happens that now the teacher sees the teacher is in the class. Students are there. They're all sitting there disciplined, because the teacher is there to to witness what's going on. As the presence of the teacher, the students are all disciplined. It's the waking state. Why it's the waking state? So you will find, even with the help of this science, you can understand. In the waking state, what happens? They say that the entire brain is now active. The forebrain is like the teacher. It is there to coordinate. The subconscious mind has all the impressions. They are constantly bubbling. But the forebrain is there to regulate them, to discipline them, to make this, our interaction in the wakeful state possible in a disciplined manner. In the dream state, what happens? Now, again, in the dream state is like the headmaster is again looking at the classroom through the surveillance camera where the teacher has left. Most probably one period is over, another period will start, and in that gap, a small gap, No one is there in the classroom, and immediately the headmaster sees, the principal sees sitting in the office with a surveillance camera. What? That there's a tremendous chaos. The students are not sitting in their place. They're all jumping around. They're all intermingling. Lot of noise. It's like the dream state. You know why? In the dream state, the forebrain has gone to sleep. The hindbrain, which is the storehouse of all the impressions, it is still active. Without the guidance of the forebrain, surveillance of the forebrain, it is not disciplined. There is a chaos. What type of chaos? In our scriptures, these examples are wonderful. They say, I have the idea of gold. I have the idea of mountain. In the waking state, I have never seen a golden mountain. So even in my mind, I can imagine a golden mountain, but I know it's not visible in the waking state because the forebrain is there to control what is going on in the back, on my hindbrain. So this idea of gold and the mountain never can come together. They are all sitting in their own places. In the dream state, the teacher is not there. The forebrain is sleeping. Now all these ideas starts interacting, jumbling without any guidance. So in the dream, can I see a golden mountain? Yes, I can see. Because the idea of the gold and the idea of the mountain came and intermingling together. So the mind just see how, but is there someone, all this chaos, who is seeing? The principal sitting in his office is still watching that. The same witness. And what is the deep sleep like? The final bell rang. For the day the school is over. The teacher is not there. The students also have left the classroom. Can the teacher see the empty classroom there with the camera? Yes, still he is watching. Abhava pratyaya alambana vritti nidra. The classroom, abhava, there's nothing is there. Everything has silenced down for the time being. Someone is watching. Who is watching? Avyakta. The ultimate subject can never be known. He is avyakta. It's not manifested. But as he is witnessing everything, from that it can be inferred that there is someone. So here the Lord says that behind, when the entire creation is not manifested, that unmanifested state is not the ultimate. Behind that there is a conscious principle who is always awake. That's me. A realized soul, an avatara, is constantly aware of that conscious principle, which is his real identity. From that identification, Krishna is saying here that this para tasmat bhavanya avyakta avyaktat sanatana. So when the entire universe goes to the state of unmanifestation, don't think everything has got annihilated. They are in just unmanifested state. And behind that unmanifested state, someone is still watching that as the eternal witness. That again is the avyakta. So avyakta, avyaktat. From this unmanifested state, beyond that there is another unmanifested state. There's the eternal conscious principle. Yah sa sarveshu bhuteshu nashyatsu na vinashyati. So when everything goes to that unmanifested state, then what happens? As if everything has got annihilated. For the time being, there is no manifestation. But there is someone still there behind this unmanifested state, and that too is manifested, and that is the consciousness. So just see what a wonderful analysis the Vedanta has done. That's the thing which is still there. So that's being indicated, this beyond this ignorance, beyond this avidya. Still, why Vedanta speaks of ignorance? Because the mind is not something separate from the consciousness. From the consciousness, the ultimate conscious principle, the mind has evolved, the cosmic mind has evolved. Now the question is how it has evolved. If something is perfect, eternal, from that something which evolves, which is full of activities, imperfections, how is it possible? We don't know. So in samadhi, a person in his deep meditation can become one with that absolute. So from that he can understand, as I can become one with that, it naturally proves, what it proves? That from there I came. That when my dream breaks, I know I was dreaming. I'm the same person who went to sleep and who was dreaming. Now the dream breaks. I'm the same person. All the things which I saw in the dream, they're not real. But then I have a sense of relief. All those nightmares which we're having are not real. I am the same person sitting quietly with full security who went to sleep. Now I'm again awake. All those things are mere hallucinations. So this is all these things which I was seeing. Now if I ask why you were seeing that, can I ever answer? I can be ascertained of the fact that it is the same me before sleep who went to the sleep, was going through that dream state, and again it is the same me who is awake. I woke up. When I wake up, I know that it is I who was dreaming. Now if you ask how that dream started, why it started, can I ever answer? How it started, why it started, I can never answer. But I can know from that's the same person who was dreaming and again he is awake. So the idea of ignorance is that. Avidya is not something separate from the self which just came and just obstructed your vision. It is the you who was awake, who went to the dream state. As we can never answer that how the perfect became imperfect. How it has happened, we cannot answer. We can go back, our sleep can break, our dream can break, and again we can be awake. That proves that I came from that state. But I can never know how it happened. So that's the idea of avidya, ignorance. So because of ignorance, because otherwise why this concept of ignorance has been brought in Vedanta? Otherwise we will have an idea, the self as eternal existence is there, but parallel to it the nature is also there as a separate existence. These two are parallel existence through eternity. This existence is going to the manifested state and unmanifested state. And the self is there behind that. But you may say, you can believe that, what's the harm in it? The harm is only one thing. If the self is pure, perfect, eternal, how can it come under the bondage? Something is affecting. The nature is affecting. It's coming under bondage. Again, it is freeing it. So that's why Vedanta says that if the ultimate self, the someone within me says that I am beyond all limitations, there is no imperfection in me, from where that echo is coming? From the self. So if that is true, then nothing can bind it. All this idea of bondage by something separate from me is an illusion. So that's why the idea of Advaita comes. All these philosophies have a very, very strong rational background behind it. So that's why because of ignorance, that ultimate, that unmanifest, manifests as another unmanifest, it is the mind, from which, because of its association, the entire universe manifests. But as that unmanifest, there is no change in it, the ultimate manifest. It is always there without any transformation. It is Trikal Avadhita Satya. It was, it is, it will be. In it, there is no Shara Vikara, no transformation. It is in the eternal present as it is. And that's the thing which is being indicated. Why it is indicated here? Because before that, he spoke of all these various levels of existence, where the time span may be infinite, but still it has an end, which gives us a feeling that after all there is annihilation. So that to ascertain that ultimately the real me can never be annihilated, he brings this idea that there's avyakta. Behind this avyakta, when the entire creation is no more there, behind that there is that eternal being who can never be destroyed. Nashyatsu na vinashyati. When this creation goes to that unmanifested, the eternal consciousness which is behind it, that is never destroyed. That is always there, awake. So then the 21st verse, what it is saying? Avyakta akshara ityukta tamahu paramangatim yang prapya na nivartante tadhama paramang mama. So when you reach there, how to reach there? That's the thing. That's through bhakti. Now you will find Bhagavad Gita speaks of jnana in the first 6 chapters, that I am the self. This idea, the Sankhya Yoga, that I have to separate myself from this nature through detachment. The first 6 chapters spoke of that. This next 6 chapters, they will be dealing with the nature of the ultimate reality. And this, how to reach that state, that I know that I am the self, but like an helpless being, I am somehow being associated with this Prakriti, which is taking me sometimes to the crest of the wave, and again I am going to the trough. I am as if helpless. From birth, life after life, I am carried by the forces of nature. Sometimes it's giving me happiness, sometimes it's taking me to the frustration. Am I to be bound by this nature through eternity? So there that question comes. There should be a way out. So first 6 chapters speaks of the self. The next 6 chapters speaks of the eternal, our real nature. And the last 6 chapters you'll find is full of bhakti. Once we enter from the 13th to the 18th chapter, that resignation and bhakti. That through this bhakti, that's a way to at last get rid of the idea that I am this small individual self. I can become identified with the Paramatma, with the Absolute. How? Through bhakti. This clue, what's the clue of that bhakti? That how bhakti can help me to be associated with the ultimate reality? That are very interesting. In all the bhakti schools, the interpretation goes like this: that once I know the eternal being, I am constantly contemplating on him, I still maintain my individuality, but as I am constantly contemplating on him, whatever I am going through, that doesn't affect me. That's also a way of understanding. But in Vedanta, when they speaks of this, one with the Absolute, that there comes a stage where a man is frustrated with this going and coming. No more, I don't want. I just want to be what I am. As Swami Vivekananda, in one of his lectures, when he was speaking of Advaita Vedanta, if someone stood up and asked, a lady stood up and asked, what is the harm? We're quite happy that we can pray to God that give us a good life, but why to be one with the Absolute? We're quite happy this be born to be just, we don't want suffering, but we can pray for a good life. And then Swamiji says, as long as you're satisfied with that, well, be happy with that. A time comes when you will be frustrated with this going and coming. That absolute para vairagya comes. And then you won't feel like again continuing with this. You have to be one with the Absolute. Sri Ramakrishna had his own simple way of explaining it. He used to say very nicely, when someone asked, that was the harm, that think of God, be with the world. Sri Ramakrishna's reply was very simple. What's the simple reply? That when in a social gathering, you have just all are just intermingling with each other, and there is some provision for some drinks too, and you have just taken a small 1 or 2 peg, you are feeling the intoxication, but still you can continue with the socializing because you have just taken a little. So you are enjoying the intoxication, but still you can continue with your socializing. Now you start taking a bit more pegs. Can you socialize anymore? Gone, totally gone. So that's a wonderful example Sri Ramakrishna gives. That when bhakti is little, it is not that much. You can, yes, that okay, but bhakti is also there, the world is also there, can go on. But when you really get too much intoxicated, then this has to fall off. You are totally as if just be with yourself. You cannot anymore socialize. So that's something that, yes, let me be in the Brahma. That's through meditation, I go to a state of this called Brahma Loka. I need not come down. I enjoy that world of contemplation. But when Brahma goes to sleep, I lose my individuality. I get merged with that. Again, when I am born, again when the Brahma wakes up, as the individuality was there, it was in the seed form, again it wakes up. Maybe again you are enjoying the state of contemplation, but it goes on. a state comes when I feel enough. I want to just be one with it. You may say, how this? In Yoga Sutras, these ideas also you will get an inkling. They say the one who has not reached the state of Kaivalya, that have not become one with the self, but has entered into a very high state of meditation, for them one thing happens. What? They become, first they call Videha, and then they call Prakriti Leena. These are the states. You will understand, even this, what is the state of Videha? Even in life, in this life, we can experience the state of Videha. We can give an example that I think the sense enjoyment is the goal of life. Most of us think. But there we all will understand that there is a limitation. What's the limitation? Suppose I am relishing a dish which I like most. I get the first serve, still that hankering is there. I get the second serve, maybe still I feel like have a little more. The third serve. From the morning someone was cooking for hours, it took to prepare all the delicacy. Within half an hour you feel satiated now. So all your effort now ends just in half an hour. So sometimes we may prolong the party with all those ideas of finger foods and all, but still, how long you can stay? Satiation comes. And then can you continue with your enjoyment? No, it's gone. You go back home, but as I was satiated today, will tomorrow I won't be hungry? Again I feel hungry. Again I have to go through the same process, preparations. So you will find this in this worldly enjoyment, there is nothing called permanent happiness. With all preparations, I get happiness. It's just there for a little moment. It's gone. I'm satiated. It's over. That's why they say it is just like a hedonistic treadmill. There's no destination. Then a treadmill you run, you're running in the same place. There's no destination. Hedonistic, it's hellish. Is there any happiness better than that? In the modern day, there's a branch of psychology, positive psychology. It's called the flow psychology. They say, yes, there's a much better happiness than just mere sense enjoyment. Suppose you have started learning a musical instrument, playing. At the beginning, it's a big challenge. It doesn't give you any happiness because your skills have not yet met the challenge. Your skills are not that developed. So you're struggling. It speaks of a lot of effort. But a time comes when your skills meet the challenge. And then a wonderful thing happens. What happens? You enter into a state of flow. What has happened? Your mind has become so focused. But as your skills have met the challenge, you're totally absorbed in the music which you are playing or which you are singing. You're totally absorbed in it. And that absorption gives it a first time a wonderful happiness. What? You find the time is flying. You haven't noticed. Most probably throughout the night I was playing. When I woke up, when in the morning suddenly I opened my eyes, I woke up, and the night has passed. What has happened? When the mind gets focused on something which you like, if you are so focused, the mind cannot get connected with the other things. The more it has focus, the other thing starts falling off. Now at present when I'm just conversing with you, if someone just comes and opens the door, I can hear it. Because only a fraction of my mind is required to keep this conversation on. The remaining mind is still free. But when I'm watching when a match in the TV, this Australian Open is going on, I'm watching and I'm so passionate about it. Someone comes and calls me, I don't hear. What has happened? As the mind is fully focused, the mind cannot process any other information as it is focused here. So it starts falling off. Now when you're really very much focused, what happens? Even the bodily feelings like hunger, thirst, they are the biological alarms. They also has to be processed by the mind. The mind has to get connected to these biological alarms. Now your mind is focused to something so much that the biological alarms just falls off. They are not getting connected with the mind. The mind cannot process them. So now for the first time you will experience a happiness which is prolonged because all the bodily feelings are not processed. Your tiredness, your hunger, your need for rest, your thirst, nothing is being processed. And the thing which you are doing with full concentration. Other things has fallen off. For the first time, the baggage in the form of thoughts, worries, tension which you are carrying always, that has fallen off. That has given you a sense of lightness, a let go. And from that, a happiness has evolved. And it continues. So the more you become perfect in that art, the more that absorption is there. The more you develop skills, the more the absorption. And it prolongs. And that's the way. That's the only way we can get rid of all our attachments, because they are not processed. You're so absorbed. With our willpower, when I'm fighting, it's not possible. That's why even you will find in the rehabilitation centers, the drug addicts, they go to the rehabilitation center. The main part of the treatment is, you will find that they always speak of developing hobbies. You should have some passions which can distract you from your addiction. Some other things. So that you can enter into a state of flow. So now you will understand bhakti, how it helps. When you have idea that there is a being, the spiritual dimension of my existence, which is beyond all these transitions of time, it is there. And I have to relate through it to bhakti, developing bhakti for it. At the beginning, the skills are not there. I have to meditate. I'm just taking a resolution, I have to meditate. I'm using my willpower. Other thoughts come, I'm trying to get rid of it. So there is no happiness. But gradually the skills are developed. How the skills are developed? All the skills are developed because of neuroplasticity. What you do again and again, what you trying doing again and again, the mind starts creating a path. Is just all our endeavors are like clearing the forest. The mind is like a forest. And when I'm trying to create a path in the forest, what I'm doing? I'm just cutting off all the bushes and creating a path. The mind is doing the same thing. When you're repeating the same thing again and again with your will, a path is created. And once the path is created, now you don't have any sense of necessity. Just to traverse that path becomes your happiness. That's the way the mind works. So in the bhakti also the same thing. When I am in my pursuit of my devotion, at the beginning it may not be at all a very, very pleasant job. It's something I'm using my willpower, I get frustrated, I try, but in the process, know it for certain, I have to have patience, perseverance, the devotion, the love will develop. Then what happens? You enter into a state of flow. Other things starts falling off. How it will help at last to become one with the Absolute. The scripture speaks of samadhi, the state of samadhi. What's the samadhi? That in meditation, when the meditation, dhyana, dharana, samadhi. Dhyana is your mind has become focused. Other things has fallen off. You have developed devotion, the mind is in one thing. But the dhyana can be more intensified. I can give an example. When there is a similar type of wave rising, I can increase its frequency, isn't it? First, there were only 2-3 waves per minute. I can make it 40 bits per minute. You will find this. You can understand this example. What is the difference between dhyana and dharana and samadhi at last? Dhyana and dharana, let us take example. That you will see that there are some pictures, we say it's low resolution. If I try to amplify it, I can see the dots. So all these digital pictures are nothing but dots. So how to increase the resolution? Increase the dots. Increase the dots, then it becomes like a flow. You cannot see the dots anymore. That's what they do. To increase the dots is to increase the resolution. So in our meditation previously, it was same thought. The other distraction has fallen off. But one thought is rising, falling, rising. There is a gap as if. But with your love, the thought becomes so intense. The frequency becomes more and more intense. The thoughts are rising very fast. The same thought, ekavritti. A time comes when what happens? When this frequency becomes very fast, then the vrittis fall off. No more vrittis rise. That's in Yoga Sutra it starts with that. There's yoga chitta vritti nirodha. Even in deep sleep it doesn't stop. In deep sleep, you will find still the waves are there. The Buddhist monks have sometimes challenged the modern science. You scan my brain, you won't find wave. Or wave will be a very low frequency. You will find that's why in the university, as it's something experimented, even in universities that has been accepted, that the person can show that in deep meditation you have total different type of wave, and its frequencies has what is that this pulsations has become almost flattened. Why it happens? That in this world you will find when anything everything is flowing, the water is flowing, electricity is flowing. Why there is a flow? Because there is a polarity. As long there is a difference of the level, the water is flowing. From high level to the low level, water will flow. But if both the levels are when the levels are same, the flow will stop. Why electricity flows? Because of difference in the potential. If two ends have same potential, there is no electric current. If you still remember in your school's days, you did something called Wheatstone Bridge. The moment there is two ends have same potential, the galvanometer shows zero reading. The current is not there. So when the polarity is resolved, the flow stops. The mind is mind because it is flowing. Constantly it is flowing. When we have same thought, then what happens? The polarity has been resolved. Previously you were thinking A, B, C, D. Now it is A, and that also highly intense. And suddenly the mind collapses. The moment the mind collapses, what happens? Just give an example. The light is falling on the prism and breaking into the spectrum. Similarly, the conscious principle falling in the mind is like that prism, breaking into the spectrum of this world of name and form. The mind has collapsed because of that high, intense same thought. Collapsed. What will happen? The spectrum will merge with the absolute, isn't it? So that's the sadhana. With your bhakti, what is happening at last? The ego, what keeps the mind intact? The ego. That idea that I am this limited body-mind complex. This ego is the last thing to go. This keeps the texture of the mind intact. When that falls, the mind collapses. How that happens? Now the meditation has helped me to get rid of all thoughts, even my bodily feelings. Everything has gone. But you will find at last, I come out of the meditation, I feel, I was meditating. There were three things. I was there, my object of meditation was there, nothing else was there. And our meditation was connecting these two. It was a bliss. Everything has fallen off. But is that ultimate? No. Even the scripture says, these samadhis, what the state? Where the triputi bheda, this triad, dhyana, dhyata, dheya. Dhyana is the process of meditation, dhyata the one who is meditating, dheya is the object of meditation. These three ideas, even when my mind is intensely concentrated, these three ideas are there. But in samadhi, this falls off. What happens? That a small portion of mind, however focused I may be, is always attached to that sense of ego. I am this limited body-mind complex. I am this individuality. At last, when your concentration becomes extremely focused, this ego also cannot be processed by the mind. The entire mind has got focused with the object of meditation. And then what happens? That I am meditating, this I has fallen off. You have become one with the object of meditation. The spectrum has merged in the light. The prism has fallen off. You are one with the absolute. So this flow can take you to that state. And that's being mentioned here. Avyakta akshara ityukta tamahu paramangatim yang prapya na nivartante. The individuality has merged in the absolute. Yang prapya na nivartante. Tadhama paramangama. With bhakti you may go to the Brahmaloka. Still, as the individuality is there, it can again be affected. It can come down again to these various worldly levels of existence. And even if it is not coming down, it stays in a particular loka, and that loka itself is not eternal. It will go to a state of sleep. Again it will wake up. So my individuality is being affected by their states. Is there any state where I am not affected by in any way? To be merged in the absolute, to be one with the absolute. From there is no return. And that's the thing which is saying, yang prapya na nivartante. tad dhama paramam mama. In the words of Ramakrishna, is the state just where we, like a salt dog, wanted to be in communion with the ocean, wanted to measure the depth of ocean. The moment I touched the surface of the ocean, I became one with it. The Nuner Putul, the salt doll, wanted to measure the depth of the ocean, and it became one with it. So that's the thing. And when you become one, so there's no question of getting back that same individuality again. We have become one. We have just merged with it. Just the way the river is known as Ganga, Yamuna, or Brahmaputra. As long as it is flowing, it has two banks. Once it has fallen in the ocean, can you ask anymore, find out which is the Ganges water, which is Yamuna's water, which is Brahmaputra water? It has become one with the Absolute. That's the state. It's the truth. Why first came Advaita Vedanta, then other philosophies came. Vishishta Advaita, Advaita. You know why? This truth is something makes us scared. I lose my individuality. I cannot bear it. This fear results in the idea that somehow I have to keep my individuality. As Swamiji in the West also mentioned, it's very difficult to be with that idea of individuality. That we always like that individuality. So, and then Swamiji used to give a nice example. But a state will come where you will attain that para vairagya, extreme detachment, and then renunciation will happen automatically. And that example he used to give is, till we reach that state, we are all children in the spiritual sense. And this children used to term jokingly as mustached baby. That we may look like a grown-up person, we may have mustache, but we are babies in spiritual sense. Why? He used to give a nice example. Just to a small child playing with the toys and playing and having chocolates, if you say you have to grow up, you have to become a scientist, well, why? And then most probably the father shows him a scientist working in the laboratory, forgetting everything. He's just, forgets his sleep, he forgets his the need for taking food, just he's busy with his experiment. And the child says, well, what a boring life. What he is doing here? I don't want to grow up. I'm quite happy with my toys and chocolate. So when we say that that's the absolute state, I don't want, well and good. Be happy with the toys and chocolate as long as we grow to that state. It's quite good. But here God is speaking of the truth, just showing us the ultimate truth. As Sri Ramakrishna used to say, I have served you the food. It's most probably the entire fish, and we just remove the head and the tail, and you take just the flesh. So Ramakrishna used to say, I have given you the truth. Naja muro bad diye jotota now and now. Means what? As much as whatever you feel is for you, that much you take. But I have given you the whole truth. So Bhagavan also is not diluting with the truth. He is giving you the truth. Take as much as is up to our taste, up to our strength to digest it. So that much. With this, we stop our discussion today. We'll continue again with the succeeding verses in the next class. Thank you all. Namaskar.